Welcome to Clinical Trader, and welcome back, everyone. It is the 9th of July, so we're talking about a Sunday and looking at the market here on Syrah Resources. The ASX code for that is SYR. We are looking at the weekly chart over here on the top left of the screen, and you can see the grind that Syrah Resources has been involved in. And we've had, obviously a lot of price rise. We look at this area down here on the left at 25 cents, which marked the bottom for Syrah Resources. And we've managed to climb all the way out of those lows and get higher and range up and down for a while and occasionally make that push higher as we work into 2022. And of course, we peaked out with this high that got all the way up to the top here. And that high is $2.69, maybe even $2.70. And stretching back further, I'm just sort of looking here to see why this may have topped out here. And it could have been general market conditions, or it might have been about the time when the lithium price began to roll over again. So, that's in play when we look at the history. So that was in November of 2022 when we saw that high. Since that time, it's been all downhill for Syrah Resources as they've struggled to get deals together that are profitable in the light of, battery metals, really. I mean, they're a graphite mining company. But I'll just point out that the volume profile here, we're really sitting at this lower bound of this, area in here, just in here. And that forms basically where we have a lot of trades that have occurred in the recent past. And of course, if we look below that in this direction down here, we've got a block down here as well where, if things were to go south for Syrah Resources, we might wouldn't be surprised at all really if we were to come down here and end up at this point. So, that's at about 50, sort of that, let's call it 60 cents down to that sort of 45, 60 cent range. It's a fair spread there. So there's no certain time frame or price that we might expect to hit. But nevertheless, this is where Syrah Resources is. On the indicators, I'm sort of liking the way this is rolling along here. We're heading down. We're starting to get a little bit of divergence where this is starting to kick up with that price that still was heading in the downward direction here. So price was heading down. Oopsie. But the indicator was heading up at the same time. If I can just get this working for me. Let's use this instead. So yeah, we saw that happen here. It's really hard to mark that on there because it's so narrow. But anyway, and of course the Harsi indicator, which is obviously that's there. It's adjusted. We've got a bit of divergence that's occurring in here as well as that tries to head higher. When this turns yellow, much like it did in here, I'll start getting excited. There's a few places where it turned yellow. These are bullish indications. And from there, we might expect that we could get some good returns on that. So in terms of price targeting, I wouldn't be surprised if, we end up somewhere in this range here at that $1.31 mark. I guess you could call it the midpoint, because if we would go down, we could find ourselves down here at this 45 cent mark. So in terms, it could go either way, of course. And, every call we make is a 50-50% opportunity. And but for Syrah Resources, it struggled so much for so long. If we were to look at, for example, the difference between the high and the low, you're looking at this. It's down 70% since the highs a year ago. So, the lower this gets, the closer we are to the bottom, essentially. So on the weekly, this is looking pretty good, and we do keep an eye on that. In terms of the shorter time frame, looking at the daily here. Okay, you can see we've got a bit of a head and shoulders forming. Where are we on this one here? It is descending, ever so slightly. But you've got your shoulder here, you've got your head in here, and this is no doubt forming into another shoulder. And of course, if we were to break through here, that I'm just going to get rid of this here. just so we can see. We'll put up an arrow here. Once we break through there, we might be looking at sort of something like this maneuver. Listen to me. This move. Okay. This 60-day moving average would come into play if that was to happen. Okay. And so that's possibly what's going to play out here. I really liked that we had this down day, open down, but then fought back in the afternoon to close. What's that? I think that's the 20-day moving average or 20-period moving average. But nevertheless, on a daily, this indicator is looking bearish. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we were to do something like this, continue this downward move. We might get down. I would expect that we might get down here, and then that would be the break that we'd be looking for. Okay, and then you might pull back, for example, here, and then off you go. But this low that you'll see here, I've lined that up with this side here. That would be the perfect example of the inverse head and shoulder. So the shoulder, the head being slightly lower than the shoulder, and then I would expect something like that to play out. So what's that price there? If we were to get back down there, that would be 84 cents. That's where we'd be at in terms of deciding whether or not we're going to act. In terms of timing, it's probably somewhere in this span here. I have to be a bit more, or look at it a bit more closely to work out the timing. But something like 12th July through to possibly could be even way over here. At 18 July. But let's say before the end, definitely before the end of the month, we could expect that we'll find that bottom and head higher. But of course, the market has to want to do that. So we'd be looking for graphite prices to increase, or for just general equities to rally from above the support, the resistance they're at now, for that to be feasible. Okay, and of course, we look for a target price somewhere in this range here at $1.47 short term. So I'll just move that up to match that. So something like that might work out quite well, and that would be by sort of mid to late August. Okay, that's Syrah Resources, technically speaking.